morning, everyone, and welcome to First Parish in Concord on this Sunday before Thanksgiving. Thank you, Eric, for that rousing prelude, that tune that is so familiar to us. I want to welcome you to church this morning. We have gathered from far and wide. We are all together in one big Zoom room. I don't know if you know this or not, but we can see how many devices are tuned into church each week. And it really helps to see that number. It usually hovers around 150 or 160. And what we know by that number is that is the number of households that have gathered for church. It doesn't feel like we're sitting in one big church, but to us, your worship leaders, we can imagine you all out there. And we hope that you can imagine sitting with this great crowd as well. I want to welcome you to church wherever you're joining us from, whether you're in and around Concord or whether you've joined us from some part of the United States or even somewhere else in the world. We know that you are with us this morning and we are with you. So welcome everyone to church this morning. I'm Reverend Howard Dana, and we'll go into gallery mode, and I'll just call on folks so that you can see who else is leading worship this morning. Adrienne Betancourt is here, and she does such a great job with the chat. Thank you for that, Adrienne. Say hi to the folks.
It's my pleasure. Good morning this wonderful Thanksgiving week. I am enjoying making a new recipe, pumpkin apple soup.
And Reverend Liz Weber is here this morning.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to church. It's good to be together.
And our ministerial intern, Jade Sylvan.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. I'm happy to be here.
Reverend Amy Friedman is here.
Good morning. I feel like it's a regular morning because I just came from a special gathering of families this morning. It was so nice to see them. And now it is so nice to be together with our wider congregation.
And Brendan Ferrari's here with his guitar.
Good morning, I am. Hi, everybody.
We have Lily Vanderzanden on tech, doing all the stuff behind the scenes. Thank you so much, Lily.
Good morning, everybody. So glad to be here.
And Beth Norton is here as well with her guitar.
Morning. Grateful to be with you all this morning.
And Eric Heineke, who we just heard on the organ.
Good morning, friends. Wonderful to be with you all. So grateful.
And lastly, the smiling face of Dawn Van Patten.
Good morning, everyone. Really makes me happy to start my Sunday with you.
Welcome to church, everyone. Our call to worship this morning are words from my colleague, Barbara Peskin. She says, "May the glory of the passing away of autumn lie about us fresh gold for a time. And when the darkness comes and the cold, may we remember how today we stand in glory, how we walk in bounty heaped upon earth's dark carpet, how we move knee-deep in abundance, flung against night's winter curtain. We are thankful for its coming and for its passing. Let it be." Let us worship together. And now Amy is going to have us light our chalices.
One of the ways that we connect worldwide is through a global chalice lighting. It's distributed by the ICUU. That stands for the International Council of Unitarian Universalists. Now, I was very excited because in November, the global chalice lighting is written in Portuguese because we have a new Portuguese language alliance. And its author is Daniel Faria, and that just happens to be the last name of my maternal grandparents. So I wanted to share the chalice lighting words with you in English translation. And you can also find these words written in Spanish, Swahili, German, Tagalog, French, Polish, and Dutch. I will put that link in the chat for you after the chalice lighting. So first, let's join in lighting our chalices, or a candle if you have one at home, together. Daniel Ferriero writes, "We light this chalice as a symbol of faith, hope, and love. To face the shadows, a chalice of light. To face iniquity, a chalice of justice. To face falsehood, a chalice of truth. To face evil, a chalice of goodness. To face disharmony, a chalice of beauty. May your brightness, manifestation of the infinite light, fill our hearts, our spirits, and our lives." Let's join together in the response. O flame of our faith, open our hearts and fill our bodies and souls with persistent strength. Enliven our spirits and engage us deeply in this life of ours, this sacred, essential moment now.
Morning, everyone. So for our opening song, we'll be singing "We Give Thanks." This song can also be used as a grace, but this morning we'll be doing it as a call and response. So for those who are unfamiliar with the song, we can do something like this. So, oh, we give thanks, oh, we give thanks for this precious day, etc. So please join me in singing "We Give Thanks." Precious day, for all gathered here, in those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this food we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. We give thanks for this precious day. We give thanks for this precious day.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm here to speak to the children and to anyone who is young at heart. So Thanksgiving is coming up, and what a lot of us do is sit around with family and friends, whether it's virtually or in real life, and we give thanks for the feast, for the food that we're eating. And this is a very American holiday, right? And we talked a little bit last week about how there's a long history of the holiday and a lot of different stories around it. But the idea of being grateful around food and eating is something that goes far, far back in human history in many, many different cultures. So today I'm going to tell you about a guy who lived hundreds of years ago in the 12th century. His name was Imam al-Ghazali, and we have a picture of him here. There, that's a painting or a picture of him. Imam al-Ghazali was a Sufi mystic, which means he was a Muslim, and he believed in God, and he called God Allah. And he wrote a ton of literature about his faith. One of his biggest books was called The Revival of the Religious Sciences, and it was thousands of pages long. It was much longer than Harry Potter. And in this book, he wrote a whole book about, it's a series of books really, and he wrote a whole book about the idea of gratitude. And one of my favorite parts in this book, in this whole book about gratitude, is when he talks about the act of eating. And he talks about all of the miracles, what he calls Allah's gifts, God's favors, all of these miracles that need to happen just for us to eat a piece of bread, any meal, right? When you think about it, eating is so wild, right? We eat food and it literally becomes our body. So I made a little graphic of Imam al-Ghazali's 8 gratitudes that he enunciates, and we're going to go through them together. So he talks about 8 gratitudes every time you eat a meal, 8 miracles that happen. And so the first one is the fact that you can even perceive the food, the fact that you can know the food is there. You have your smell, you have your eyesight, and of course not everybody has all the senses, but you usually have a lot of them or most of them. You can taste the food, you can hear somebody calling you to dinner. So you know the food is there. The second one is the fact that you even want the food. It's your appetite, right? Where does that come from? You want the food, that's a miracle. And the third is what you're able to get the food to your body with, right? So it's usually your hands or your mouth. And then the fourth gratitude is the food itself, right? The life that you end up eating. It's the grains, it's the plants, it's the animals, whatever you eat. The fifth gratitude, the fifth miracle, is the whole system that gets the food to you, right? So the food has to get to you. There are roads, there are vehicles, there are stores, usually that the food travels through to get to you. And then there are the food industry workers who prepare the food, whether that's a worker at a restaurant or somebody at a bakery, or even somebody, who processes the vegetables that get to you. And then the seventh miracle is the whole miracle of community and cooperation that make all of this possible, right? It's the fact that there's even people who agree, let's put a store here so that people can go and get their food, bring it home, make dinner. And then finally, there are the miracles inside of your body, your own stomach, your digestion, right? That takes that food and turns it into energy and turns it into your body. So what if you went through this list before you sat down to your meal? And you could do it on Thanksgiving, or you can do it really anytime you eat. How much more would you appreciate your food? How much more would you appreciate this life? Thank you for listening. Next, Brendan is coming back, and he's going to bring the children's choir, and they are going to sing a song for us.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very excited to show you our first virtual project of the year. We decided to make it simple for our first one with just audio, but we're hoping to bring you some video projects in the future. I'm so proud of our children's choir members and all their hard work on Sunday mornings, and I'm pleased to present We All Need More Kindness in This World. Please feel free to sing along.
We all need more kindness in this world. We all need more kindness in this world. You can look high and low, but there's no place left to go. We all need more kindness in this world. We all need more love in this world. We all need more love in this world. You can look high and low, but there's no place left to go. We all need more love in this world. We all need more friendship in this world. We all need more friendship in this world. You can look high and low, but there's no place left to go. We all need more friendship in this world.
That was great. It's so nice to hear the voices of the kids. This morning, Amy and I have a very unusual reading for you. We actually have each brought a recipe. And we know that folks are going to do a lot of cooking this week. And whether you're in large groups or small groups, it's important to have some good recipes. So the recipe that I want to share is my recipe for cranberry sauce. And I didn't make this recipe up. It's my grandmother Lyman's recipe. And she liked it because it was really easy and you could do it the day before. And, you know, I grew up eating the cranberry sauce from the can and I still like it. I still have a can of cranberry sauce in my pantry at all times. But on Thanksgiving, you can be a little fancier. So all you have to do, you find these whole cranberries and they're in bags and there's different varieties of them. So you buy that at the grocery store. So this is what you start with. Then what you need is you need an orange and you want the whole orange because you're going to take a grater, and you can use a box grater or this kind of grater, and you're going to grate off a bunch of the outside. And that gives the cranberries kind of a nice bitter taste as well. And then I just cut the orange open and I put it with the cranberries in the saucepan. And all you need is one pan. That's a good recipe. And then next, you need about a half a cup of sugar. If you'd like it sweeter, you can put more sugar in if you want. So you put a half a cup of sugar in. And then here's the secret ingredient. You want to put in booze, triple sec. You find this at the liquor store. And so...
is that actually called Montezuma?
It's called Montezuma. I know. People know how much I love Mexico, so how could you resist triple sec called Montezuma? And so what you do is you put a half a cup of this in as well. And don't worry, because when you cook it off, all the alcohol goes away and you're just kind of left with this really nice orange taste in your cranberry sauce. And here's what you wind up with. You wind up with a bowl of cranberry sauce.
Howard, if you can't find Montezuma's triple sec, what else could I use?
Any old triple sec will do.
Okay, great. Wow.
You could skip the triple sec if you wanted. So that's my recipe for cranberry sauce. You want to cook it about 15 minutes till it gets kind of like a jam-like consistency, but you want to still have some whole berry chunks in there as well.
Well, that is great. Thank you for sharing that, Howard. That is definitely different than my family recipe for cranberry sauce, but I am tempted to try it. All right, so my recipe for all of you it has a lot more ingredients, so I had to kind of collect them here, and I didn't bring them all because, you know, computers and everything, it would be a little tricky, but I'm happy to tell you that my recipe can be found on the can of one pie pumpkin. And one Thanksgiving, our family had a debate about whether squash or pumpkin pie was better, and so we made both. And I'll tell you, our family decided that pumpkin was the way to go, but I know some folks like squash better. So there's also a one pie squash out there. So the way you go about this is that you need to sift together some ingredients first. And you sift together sugar, cornstarch, and then these wonderful flavors of the harvest time ginger, cinnamon, and nutmeg. I love those flavors. And then after you do that, you mix the contents of the one pie pumpkin, and you add eggs, beaten, of course, and melted butter and molasses. I have this one, but I know everyone has their favorite kind of molasses. And then the recipe says you can either do milk or a can of evaporated milk. And I always do the evaporated milk, except for that time when I got condensed milk, and that really doesn't work. That's much too sweet. So make sure it's evaporated milk. And then you line a pie plate with the crust of your choice. And of course, everyone has different crusts that they like. This week, I did not have time to make my own crust. I look forward to doing that with my mom soon. But I got a store-bought crust, and I put all the contents into that, and you bake at high heat for 15 minutes. So that's 450 degrees. And then you turn it down and you bake it at 350 degrees. And I recommend eating this as a dessert with fresh whipped cream. But my absolute favorite way to eat it is the day after as breakfast. That is my recipe for all of you.
Nothing better than apple pie or than pumpkin pie for breakfast the next day.
Pies for breakfast, I think, is my favorite breakfast of all. Well, I hope that both Jade's children's message and Howard and I sharing our favorite recipes helps kind of bring some of that excitement about the eating part of Thanksgiving into your consciousness. We also want to acknowledge that this Thanksgiving is going to be different. And the word that I choose to describe it is bittersweet. There's things that will be moments of absolute gratitude and joy, but also so much that we miss and so much that is challenging at this particular holiday 2020. Howard, what are your plans for the holiday?
So I have very carefully moved my quarantine bubble to central Pennsylvania. So I was really careful in Massachusetts and could drive here in a day. And I have a little house here that's usually rented, but it's not at the moment. So I'm in my own house and I'm going to spend Thanksgiving with my good friend Dan. And so we'll cook together. So we'll be a bubble of two for that, which seems very strange to me because I love Thanksgiving. I love to have lots and lots of people around and lots of friends, but this was a way to do it safely and to be with somebody as well. How about you, Amy?
Well, so my family includes my husband, Peter, and my daughter, Liza. And the one person that's a part of our bubble or pod or however you want to talk about that is my mother, who happens to live in Newport, Rhode Island. Of course, Howard knows, but some of you may not. Newport is where I served as the senior minister for 10 years. And Peter's extended family is in Rhode Island. So if this was a regular Thanksgiving, we would be hosting lots of the extended family. But everyone is going to have their own dinner in their own unit. But what we've decided to do is that we're going to gather in a cousin's backyard and exchange some dishes. So we are going to bring cranberry sauce. I wonder whether I'll add the triple sec. Stay tuned for that. And mashed potatoes. And then we want to make sure to get some red cabbage because that's a dish that Peter's mom used to make. Unfortunately, she passed away, but that recipe is something that other family members will be making. So we hope to have that at our table this year.
And that food is so important because it's going to be hard this year. We are really going to miss some people, and lots of folks are going to make different choices. And I think that any really considered choice is just fine. We're living through something none of us have ever lived through before. This pandemic is scary, and some of us are much more susceptible to it than others, and all of us want to keep each other safe. And I think that the thing that's helping me out this Thanksgiving is to just know that I can have those familiar flavors. I can cook that food. And even if you're not a great cook at all, just try something. I mean, you don't have to do the whole turkey and the stuffing and all of that, but think about a way to make one or two dishes that just remind you of Thanksgiving, that allow you to have the warmth of community. An old family recipe or something like that is going to help a lot, because it's not going to be an easy day. We are really going to miss people. I know that my family's gathering far away in Montana, and that I have friends that are going to be close by, but I won't be with them on Thanksgiving Day. And I think about all the folks who are single or who are living in assisted living places or apartments where they really can't get out and about. And let's think about them as well too, because the isolation is one of the harder things about this COVID pandemic. And so I just encourage folks to call somebody on Thanksgiving, set up a Zoom call if you can, check in with people And if you can find a recipe to cook or some way to get those flavors, it'll still feel like Thanksgiving. And we also are thankful this year for the hope that's coming, that there will be a vaccine, that hopefully this will be the only Thanksgiving that we have to do this way. We're not sure about that, but getting each other through it is going to be really important. I know I'll be calling my family on Thanksgiving Day.
Absolutely. And I think whatever holiday we observe, even not under a pandemic, it's good to be reminded that holiday comes from holy day, and it's a time for us to reflect and to connect with those things that are timeless and our connections with loved ones across space and time. And so if you can light a candle or just take a deep breath and pause for a moment, whether you are someone who meditates or prays or just to name the people who are on your mind and heart, that really makes a difference in knowing that although we might be separated from one another, our circle of love and concern extends beyond the physical people who we can touch and see.
And so we want to just wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving, no matter how you celebrate it, whether you're with other folks or whether you're alone that day. Know that we love you and we care for you, and we give thanks for you and your life and for all that you give to this world. And so know that you will be in our thoughts and in our prayers on this Thanksgiving, and we wish you a very, very happy one.
Absolutely. We count all of you among those people that are near and dear to us, that we hold in our circle of love and concern, and we send our best to all of you. We have a question for us to reflect on, and it's a little different question than we've asked before, and that is, what dish is Thanksgiving to you? And it doesn't mean that you're necessarily serving it this year, but when you think of Thanksgiving, what comes to mind as part of that feast? It could be a memory of a past Thanksgiving. It could be a flavor. And we ask that you just take a moment. You can't write your whole menu. Choose one dish that comes to mind that you'd like to share with our First Parish community. Oh my goodness, I am getting so hungry. I have a pumpkin pie next to me though, so if I have to have that for lunch, we'll see how long that lasts. Thank you all for putting things into the chat. I will not be able to read them all, but please know you can scroll back and see some of them yourself. I'll just highlight a few. Onions in cream, pies, mincemeat baked into peach halves, jellied canned cranberry sauce, stuffing, corn pudding, mince pie, asparagus casserole. Now, I love to see that some folks have put in not just a dish, but a relative that the dish came from. So in this case, Annabelle's cheesecake, Mom's rolls, Brussels sprouts. Now that is always controversial. I see a little smiley next to that. So that is, I wish we could talk more about that. Oyster dressing made by my cousin, a chef. And there are so many more things. I just want to highlight that some folks have said that they really enjoy the leftovers the next day and the special way that they stack those leftovers together. So I think Thanksgiving is not just a time that we prepare the food and we gather with people we love. And this year we'll have to do it in different ways. But whatever you enjoy, whether it is a feast or a simple one raisin, I hope that the flavors will nourish and sustain you, and that you will see yourself as grateful and blessed.
Thank you, Amy and Howard and everyone. I'm actually getting kind of hungry too. There's this song by Bob Franke, who is a Massachusetts singer and songwriter, that I've been singing for quite a long time, and it seemed like the right song for this particular Thanksgiving, this bittersweet Thanksgiving. Especially the, what can you do with your days but work and hope? Let your dreams bind your work to your play. What can you do with each moment of your life but love till you've loved it away? Bob Franke's Thanksgiving Eve. It's so easy to dream of the days gone by. It's a hard thing to think of times to come. But the grace to accept every moment as a gift is a gift that is given to some. What can you do with your days but work and hope? Let your dreams bind your work to your play. What can you do with each moment of your life but love till you've loved it away? Love till you've loved it away. There are sorrows enough for the whole world's end. There are no guarantees but the grave. But the lives that we live and the time that we spend are treasure too precious to save. What can you do with your days but work and hope? Let your dreams bind your work to your play. What can you do with each moment of your life but love till you've loved it away? Love till you've loved it away. As it was, so it is. As it is, so shall it be. And it shall be while lips that kiss have breath. Many waters indeed only nurture love's seed, and its flower overshadows the power of death. What can you do with your days but work and hope? Let your dreams bind your work to your play. What can you do with each moment of your life but love till you've loved it away? Love till you've loved it away. What can you do with your days but work and hope? Let your dreams bind your work to your play. What can you do with each moment of your life but love till you've loved it away? Love till you've loved it away.
week, we invite you to share the cares on your heart. And this week, we lift up Kay. Know that you have been holding much yourselves. And I know that you have shared some of that with me and Howard and Amy, but also that you share that with each other. And I am grateful for the ways that this is a caring and supportive community. And as well as lifting up Kay, I know there are folks on your heart. I invite you to call their names aloud or share them in the chat right now. And we hold one another in kindness and in prayer, in care. We hold one another within our community. We hold those in our wider world, our family and friends, our colleagues, so many people who are in our hearts. And we know that we are in someone's heart too. I invite you to continue sharing names in the chat as we sing together. Will you pray with me and join our hearts together in meditation? Spirit of life that holds us in love always. God of love, Goddess of the earth. God who some of us call Allah. We come together as a community of care in this time, which is so bittersweet. We lift up and pray especially today for folks in our midst who are facing hardship. Those who have lost a member of their family or a friend, or who are in a time of an anniversary of a loss. Those who are going through medical tests or are facing a new diagnosis or a progression of a diagnosis. Those who have had COVID scares, themselves or in their families, and those who are experiencing COVID in their families, in their workplaces. May all who are in pain be comforted today. In this week of our bittersweet Thanksgiving, we honor our grief about things that aren't as we want them to be. And we especially lift up folks who are isolated, folks who are alone, folks who are having a smaller Thanksgiving. We lift up and just want to let go of the stress of having to figure out what feels safe, these constant calculations that are part of pandemic life. We hold fast to the joy of connecting with a person or people we love, whether that will be in person or via Zoom or phone. We hold on to the joy of connection, to how life-giving it is. We hold fast to the joy of good food, whether we are anticipating a dish that we love, that's a tradition, something new, or just something that we remember from the past. And may we all find comfort in our memories. There are sorrows enough in this life. And so may we bind our work to our play, sharing as much love as we can. May we be comforted by kindness and bring more kindness into our world. May gratitude come to us easily. Amen, and blessed be. I hope, First Parish, that you know yourselves to be deeply loved. In this Thanksgiving time, I am grateful for you. I send my love to you, all of us here do. Can you feel it? Can you feel the connections that bind us even when we are in our own homes? It's there. Let's sit together in this love for a moment of stillness and then sing together once again.
Keeping with our Share the Plate focus this month, Immigrant Justice Task Force leader, Lori Van Loon, speaks about immigrants and mental illness.
Good morning. I'm Laurie Van Loon from the Immigration Justice Task Force. Our Share the Plate recipient this month is the National Alliance for Mental Illness. I light the social action candle today in solidarity with immigrant neighbors who are suffering the mental health impact of past and current trauma, and with enormous respect for their resilience, their courage, and their strength. Fear and unpredictability stemming from the coronavirus and from the election affect us all, especially immigrants. COVID has invaded detention centers. It's increased the isolation of the undocumented. In my counseling practices, some immigrants with US citizenship have suffered flashbacks recently, fearing a coming dictatorship. In my advocacy for newer arrivals seeking asylum, I provide mental health evaluations to validate their pleas, but they cannot fully recover while their status remains unclear. Post-traumatic stress disorder and depression are natural outcomes of horrific circumstances. Our task force fights for individuals who fled death and for those in detention. We push for targeted legislation. We advocate for security and human rights. Both are foundations for mental health. Treatment is unfamiliar and intimidating for many immigrants, or shameful or out of reach. Some fear exposure. Counselors may not be tuned into their experiences, languages, and cultures. Our task force partners with organizations that offer multiple supports, including sensitive, affordable mental health care. We support immigrant-run groups that provide connection, another mental health essential. We have the privilege of genuine friendship with Maria, our sanctuary guest in Bedford. Our emotional bond keeps us together even now with classes, visits, cards, and deep affection. And watch for a link in the First Parish Weekly to witness Maria's own activism. It's an honor to ally with immigrants at risk in our country. Find out how you can help. We welcome you at our next meeting.
Thank you, Laurie, for your words and especially for your work. We hold all immigrants and all who are incarcerated in our thoughts and prayers at this time. It's easy to give to the various good causes at First Parish in Concord. You can just send a check into the church like you always do with your pledge check. You can give online, or you can also just text a number that will appear on your screen soon. In the month of November, we are sharing our plate with NAMI Mass. The National Alliance of Mental Illness of Massachusetts improves the public's awareness of mental illness and ensures that all people receive the services they need in a timely fashion. I encourage you to text the number to give generously, knowing that your dollars will support the good work and witness of First Parish in Concord and of NAMI, Massachusetts. Please give generously.
As we begin to wrap up our service, I want to share a little bit about what's going on at church. The best place to look for all of this and way, way more is in your FP Weekly email that comes out on Fridays. If you're not getting it, check your spam folder, or you can sign up again on firstparish.org. A big piece of news that we have this week is that we have realized with the COVID spike that we need to close our building again for a while. All of us are sad to have reached this conclusion, and yet we know that the numbers are bad enough that we want to be sure that we're being safe. It's part of how we care for each other as a community. You should know that First Parish staff and Open Table staff will continue to access the building as needed. All along, we've been balancing working from home and using the building when there's something that we need within our walls, and that will continue. So if you need to drop something off or pick something up from the church itself, just contact one of us on staff, whoever is most directly involved with the thing that you're doing, and we'll make sure that that can happen. Our outdoor grounds do remain available because there's been no evidence of COVID spread from being outside in masks and distance. So if that's something that has been meaningful to you, know that you're still welcome to come and enjoy the grounds. And of course, our building being closed does not mean that our church is closed. There's still tons going on. So look again to FP Weekly. But I wanted to let you know, as we look towards the holidays, there's a special message from Amy on 5 ways that you can make a difference. And that includes a lot of collaboration with our social justice folks, including the Secret Santa gift cards. We also have a lot of our regular First Parish traditions doing, some in adapted ways this year. The first thing that's coming up is the Blue Holidays service. That will be in about 2 weeks on the Tuesday, December 1st at 7 p.m. So if you're someone for whom this is a hard time of year, or this is just a hard year in what's usually a joyful time, please feel welcome to that service. Today, after this service ends, we have our worship sharing circle, which is a good way to connect with others about the theme from the service and have a bit of discussion and sharing together about the bittersweet Thanksgiving that we're in this year. We also have a more open, free-flowing discussion through the Zoom coffee hour, and Jim Hawks is here as a member of your standing committee to invite you to coffee hour.
Hi, I'm Jim Hawks, and I'm a member of the standing committee, and this is my wife and co-pilot, Shelley.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. We've had challenges this year: COVID-19, 2020 election, climate change, racism, etc. For today, I'd like to just let that disappear. And what I'd like to talk about is having thanks, beautiful planet, nice presidential, a new president and new vice president, and honoring all beings. And I look forward to seeing you at coffee hour. Rejoice.
Thank you, Jim. Martin Rinkert was a Protestant clergyman in the mid-1600s in Eilenburg, Germany. And he was a clergyman in this small walled city during the 30 Years' War, for really the whole 30 years of the 30 Years' War. It was a very difficult time for Eilenburg. There were troops going back and forth, there was overcrowding, and there was a plague. And through it all, Martin Rinkert continued to minister to the community, sometimes doing thousands of memorial services in a very short time. He also wrote hymns, and the hymn that he is most famous for, or the hymn that he wrote that is most famous, was something he actually wrote as a table grace. And it's called Nun danket alle Gott. Now thank we all our God. And so let us know that others have passed through difficult times with thanksgiving and gratitude as we sing together. Now thank we all our God with our choir and with Eric on the organ.
Take good care, my friends. Nourish your body, feed your heart, find ways to refresh your spirit. Let us join together in the First Parish benediction. Go out into the world in peace. Have courage. Hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the suffering. Honor all beings.
you.